I see my father as I remember him, warm, kind-hearted, the ideal dad.
Daddy's combing his hair. Give up, Daddy.
Why are you doing that with your eye?
'Cause I can't do it.
He had a wife, 3 sons, owned his own business, and lived in Southern California. I thought I knew it all, and then there was Russia.
Не слышны в саду даже шорохи. Всё здесь замерло.
I stare at these photographs, looking for answers,
Если б знали вы,
but they only prompt more questions.
мне дороги, под
Why did my father go to Russia? Why was he absent for long periods of time? Why don't I remember him as much as I should from my childhood? Who were these strange men that he was with? What were they doing? The answers would change the direction of my life. The feeling of absence seemed like a distant echo from the past. My father had lost his own father at a young age.
I was 15 years old. My dad used to drive me to school every day, and somehow or another we got on the topic of environment. He was the kind of person that was always very interested in the environment, and he gave me this book by Barry Commoner called Science and Survival. I just found it a very interesting book. We started talking about this book, and he was a lawyer, and we used to talk about how maybe we'd started an environmental law practice together. It was 1969 at the time, and there probably wasn't any such thing as an environmental lawyer or an environmental law practice.
Down 2.5, picking up some dust. Straight shadow. 4 forward, drift into the right a little. 30 seconds forward, drift. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
My last conversations were with him about environment, so it just sort of gelled my interest. And when we were growing up as kids, he always wanted to take us back west because he had taken this trip with some friends of his from Cornell, actually, in 1948, and they traveled all throughout the Southwest, you know, visiting Indian tribes, and actually they were taking photographs and studying the culture, and he really had a fondness for the Indians, and as you know, they have a real appreciation for the environment.
As I read my grandfather's diary, I could find my sense of curiosity in his words. July 1st, 1948. Today we really got into the backcountry of New Mexico. First of all, we went to Taos Pueblo, the largest in New Mexico. Of course, there are Indians living in it, and they are maintaining their own city life under the strain of civilizing influences. Right near the church, I saw a woman with a bucket of water and a cloth splashing away at the wall of her house with her husband supervising the job. I stopped to ask how many times a year that process had to be done. I didn't get anywhere since neither spoke English, but their daughter finally appeared and said sure, she spoke English. She said it only had to be done once a year. July 22nd. We made our trip a little longer this day by swinging into the Dakota Badlands. Jack and I were not with great sympathy with the name. We saw much worse lands on the reservations where the Indians were living. This land actually had water in it, and the prairie land surrounded the bad clay piles that consisted the Badlands.
A friend of mine and I were taking a class in environmental economics in our senior year, and the professor asked if anybody was interested in studying keep-home pollution in the James River. And of course, none of us really knew that much about the incident, but as it turns out, in Richmond they had released an insecticide into the river, James River, which flowed nearby where the campus was, and it caused the closure of the river to fishing. We decided that we were going to do a study on the effects of keep-home pollution on the fishing industry. And it was a pretty broad topic, and it was about economics, so we wanted to know what the economic impact was of this closure on the river. So we just started calling fishermen and asking them these questions. And the more questions we asked, the more we realized, oh, we should do it on the catfish industry. And so we realized, the further we got into the study, that we had something pretty special here. We had 3/4 of the catfish industry, and we were going to be able to estimate what the impact of the closure of the river was on them. And we went in, and they were very nervous to talk to us, to ask, answer our questions and to share information with us. And we told them we were just a couple of students from the college. And so after some convincing, they said, okay, we'll share some information. So we'd go up into the attics of these places, and they'd have these spiral notebooks which would have the amount of fish that they caught and processed each year, but by month. And so we're adding up all these numbers and realizing, just sort of chuckling to ourselves, because we're getting all this real information. And we compile it all, we write our report, and it becomes a huge success. And that was my first real practical experience of understanding about environment and the effect of environment on economy, on culture. And you would think that our view would be, oh, bad industry and putting this fishing business under, but it raised so many questions, like, well, why did the state close the river? What was the safe level in the river of Keepone? Why, what was the basis on which they were going to open the river? So we learned a lot about all sides.